morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the controversial talk with the smog. First and foremost, I really want to apologize, guys. I know I've been gone for quite so long. I've been preoccupied with schoolwork, my master's program, my military educational program that I'm going through on right now. Man, I'm overloaded with work, That's why I've not been able to drop an episode in almost a month now. I do sincerely apologize for slacking behind. I mean, it's not an excuse. I mean, people still got lives, but hey, it is what it is. I appreciate people who have reached out to me and asked me, "Hey man, what's going on? Are you still doing your podcast? We haven't heard an episode since the last one." Especially my fiance, man. She keeps she's on my neck. She's my biggest supporter and my biggest fan, and she understands. She told me, "Hey, just take your time, but don't let the light dim out, so quick. Take your time." Well, having said that, from now on, the controversial talk with Smog is gonna be bi-weekly. It's gonna be every 2 weeks from now on. Hopefully, that's the goal. Yeah. So now let's go straight to why we're here. As you guys know, on the 20th of October, there was a series of tragedies going on all over Africa, especially in Nigeria. That's why I want to specify with the 20th of October. But each and every one of y'all have heard about the Lekki Tollgate massacre. The End SARS movement and all that good stuff. Man, this is a huge topic. Like I'm emotional just thinking about it. I don't even know how to start. I don't know where to start from. Like Africa has been beaten down so much from time immemorial, man. It is ridiculous. Problems. We have a lot of problems to address in that country. And the thing is, we've come to that time when the youth have pretty much said, enough is enough. You understand? Like, enough is enough. Like, it's high time we stand up and fight. And that's what's going on. That's what we're doing. That's what they're doing. Now, when it comes to this fight, you can do this fight in your own way. You necessarily don't have to be out there in the open marching. You can do it by bringing awareness. Tweet it. We have social media. You can tweet it. You can put it on Facebook, Instagram. That's how the world got to know about this this whole atrocities in the first place. If not for social media, they would have swept it under the rug. A lot of African dictators have swept stuff under the rug for the longest time because they control the media, they control the country, they control the economy. But gone are those days. Now we pretty much control the system with our cell phones. It's very easy for you to just take a video, take a picture, and then bam, you put it online, and the whole world is watching what is going on in real time. And that's exactly what happened at Lekki Tollgate, and which is why these non-entities, these goats, acted the way they did, because they could not believe it. In their minds, they were like, "How dare you tell the world what we're doing? How dare you show people our atrocities?" It's just like, remember when you were small and your mom or your dad beats you, they spank you, and then you go to the corner and you just crying, and they come up to you and they're like, "Oh, you're crying? You're crying just because I spanked you? You're crying just because I spanked you? I'm gonna give you something to cry about," and then they threaten to beat you some more. That's what Nigerians are doing. That's what the Nigerian government or African leaders do. They bully you into submission. You understand? It's ridiculous. Like, when I think of it, man, I get so pissed and angry. So over the past month, we've had issues like NSAS movement in Nigeria, the Anglophone massacre in Cameroon, um, where the Francophones and Anglophones are pretty much the Anglophones are trying to succeed from the country. But the funny thing is, in the fight to succeed, they've ended up killing their own people. You know, I'm not gonna dive deep into that because I really don't know the whole story. Um, yeah, and then the one in Congo, the child labor camps in Congo, where children are pretty much forced to work in I think it's cobalt mining mines or something. And cobalt is a mineral that's used for a lot of computer software technology. So the tech companies are making huge money from this. You know what that means, right? That means the West knows exactly what's going on over there. They're profiting from that. I mean, by having those child labor camps, they produce their products cheap. You understand? And the Congolese people said enough is enough. Like, we got to do something about this. You know, like African countries are standing up one after the other, and that's what we got to do. We need to say enough is enough to the West. Yeah, yes, because these guys they've been they've been puppet masters, right? Like when they came into the continent donkey years ago, uh, they came to rule the entire continent. You know, to have pretty much like take the land masses, take the land mass, oppose their will on there, have their own kingdoms on there, and have the people work for them. But unfortunately for them, these lands were pretty really massive, and it was hard for them to control all these lands by themselves. So guess what they did? They decided to appoint governors and president, not well, governors and kings or whatever they had to do, and then they used those their governors to convince the local leaders to do their dirty work for them. You understand? I'm a big I'm a big fan of history, and I always tell people history always repeats itself if you don't know your history. You understand? If you look at all these European countries that came into Africa donkey years ago, they come from little landmass. Like, Europe is not that big. If Africa one day decides we are going to war against Europe, right? Africa will be able to defeat Europe in as a continent. Now, they might not defeat them with the technological advancement, but if they decide to go toe to toe, like hand to hand combat with the type of human capacity that Africa has as a continent against Europe, Europe wouldn't stand a chance. So, what did the Europeans do? They knew from time immemorial that they are pretty much outnumbered. And what would they do to gain power? They will go to all these other continents, steal their people, steal the smartest people, steal the human resource and the natural resources, right? Steal all that stuff, have control over that, and once they have that control and have control over the territories, once they have these three controls, they pretty much control the world, and that's why the Western Hemisphere still control the world to today. I mean, I keep talking about history. I mean, look at the Roman Empire of back in the day. If you look at all these empires, you realize that they all came from small land masses, and then acquired more territories, and then built their empires. Do you understand? And going back to what I said about the Europeans coming and taking all these land masses in Africa without knowing that they couldn't be on ground themselves. So what did they do? They appointed governors, and that's what the Romans did back in the day. So when the Romans come, They take your land. They know it's a big landmass, so they know that okay, if I appoint a governor here, he won't be able to rule the whole big land by himself. So what's he going to do? This governor is going to be in charge of the local tribesmen, rulers. You know, those rulers will be submissive to him. They will give a ruler, they will give, a title man or whatever. They will give him money, they will give him lands, they will give him women, they will give him wealth. Once they give him all that stuff that's going to make him shut up, he was going to become their puppet. And that's exactly what the Europeans did. Right?
Have you guys heard of the Berlin Conference of 1884 to 1885?
Long time ago, the European Union came together and said, hey, we need to divide the continent of Africa. We need to get all that stuff in there. All the stuff in there is going to help us for our survival. Remember, these guys, they have nothing. I mean, I've never been to England, but people that have been to England tell me that it's a very gloomy place. It's always wet, always cold, always moody. So of course, people living there all their lives, you're gonna be depressed. And then once you travel and go to Africa, you're like, damn, this place is nice. This is always sunny. It's mildly hot. It's nice. And then they see all this agriculture, they see all these natural resources, and they want to take it. So during the Berlin Conference, before that time, they were already fighting, scrambling for lands. The Belgians came, the French came, the English, Germans, Portuguese. They were all fighting for lands. And at the conference, they said, okay, you know what? Let's have an agreement. Let's carve out the continent. They pretty much drew up a map, drew borders around the map, and said, okay, England, you have Nigeria, you have Ghana, you have Sierra Leone, you have this one. France, you have Equatorial Guinea, you have Ivory Coast, you have Togo, or any other francophone country. You have Northern Cameroon, and Portugal, you have Angola, you have this, you have that. That's pretty much what they did. And once they did that, it was signed into agreement, and boom, they went to war. You understand? They came and started claiming their territory. First thing first, they came and told you, hey, we're here to save you. We have this guy called Jesus. He's the savior. We'll teach you about him. He's gonna bring salvation into your life. All that savagery that you've been doing, it's gonna take it away. It's gonna wipe it away. They brought that. Brought the Bible. Brought Jesus. To convince us that we're stupid. Brainwashed us. Change our identity. Right? And then, second thing, they went to the chiefs. They said, hey, we can give you this, we can give you that, we can give you this. Some of the chiefs revolted. They said, no, I don't need all that stuff. I'm good with what I got. I'm good with the goats. I'm good with my cattle. I'm good with my farm crop. And that's all. We can bring electricity. We can give you, for example, the Benin Kingdom. They say, you guys are fighting against those Yoruba people or those people from Bayelsa. We can give you ammunition. We can give you guns. But see this gun? You shoot it from 3,000 miles. 300 meters, you can kill someone who is far away. You don't need to be close to the person. And the chief was like, what? Yes, give me those guns. They gave them those guns. And then they said, we can do business. You give us some of your guys, they'll come and work in our plantation. We give you more money. You understand? That's how they started doing. They deliberately started stealing from the continent one by one. Now, was there revolts? Of course. A lot of these countries, a lot of these tribes were not countries, because at the time they weren't countries. There was nothing like Nigeria, Cameroon. None of that stuff existed. There was the Benin Empire, the Sokoto Caliphate, the Oduduwa kingdom, the Igbo tribes, because Igbos are, we're not a kingdom. We have our various tribes, led by our elders. You understand? So they found it difficult, but what did they do? They realized that, okay, if we can convince any of these tribal chiefs that, hey, I'll give you power, and then you spy on me, and you give me the human resources that I want, you give me the natural resources that I want, and I'll make you powerful. And that's exactly what they did. Right? And you want to know something funny? They're still doing it till this day. Till this day. Look at everything that's been going on all over the continental Africa, or in the world in general, not just Africa. Right? SARS, this special anti-robbery squad, or whatever they call themselves. Do you know that it was sponsored by the British government? They were trained by the British government. As at 2016, these guys, they quote unquote said that they participated in training them and giving them training equipment and ammunition and guns. Now my question is, what kind of training were they giving these guys? There's a guy, Franklin, on he's a YouTuber, and he talked about this. He made a strong point. He said, what kind of training were they giving these police officers, these SARS people? Because if you know SARS, you know that their tactics are barbaric. Like, if these guys catch you, almost not dead. You understand? The only way you walk out of a SARS prison is if you pay your way off. And it's not small money. The least you can pay is 200,000 naira. That's the least. I've heard so many atrocious stories about these guys. So are you telling me that if the British government trained these guys, are you telling me they didn't train them to do stuff like this? They didn't train them to extort? They didn't train them to interrogate people maliciously? And I'm just asking because initially they denied it until one black parliamentary guy in British brought it to the parliament, and argued, and then they were like, oh yes, you're right, yeah, we did. So now that makes me wonder, what else have they done behind the scenes that we don't know about? Every time you hear a Nigerian government official, once he gets sick, oh yeah, he was flown to London to get special treatment. Huh? Are you telling me he cannot have that special treatment in Africa, in Nigeria, in his home country? Why? Nigeria is one of the most richest country on the African continent. How come we don't have good healthcare, even better healthcare than the Western culture, the Western world? You do realize Nigerians are the most intelligent of any race. I'm not making this up. Go do your research. You understand? Look at Nigerians in diaspora, even Nigerians in Africa. Like, I'm not just saying this to argue here with you. So you're telling me with all these brains that they can't have good health facilities in Nigeria? So pretty much what these are, their masters, their colonial masters, what they do is, once they plant a president, they tell him, oh yeah, if you have a headache, just get into British Airways and come to I'm just making this up, come to London medical facility. Yeah, we will treat your headache for free. Don't worry about it. We give you the best treatment. President will say, oh yeah, sure. And the president, I'm pretty sure he dares not ask them, well, why can't we build this kind of hospital in Nigeria? If he does, he might disappear. You understand? So they make these deals to stay in place. Look at every francophone colony. Francophone is French. French-speaking colony. Look at all of them. All their economy is siphoned into the French central bank. I'm not making this up. Go do your research. Till this day, a huge percentage of these French sovereign countries in Africa, a huge percentage of their GDP goes into the French economy. It is ridiculous. And how do the French compensate with this? They give most French francophone African countries, they give them free pass to get into France. That's why there are so many West Africans in France right now. I mean, you all saw the last World Cup. That team was full of West African players. I mean, I deemed it that wasn't a French team. That was an African team that won the cup for them. Do you know, back in the day, Senegalese citizens were considered French citizens by birth, even if they were born in Senegal. You understand? So that's what they gave them. They gave them that free pass. And of course, once you give them that, they'll feel, oh yeah, the white man has accepted me. Rubbish. They do that just to control you. Now let's dive into the history of police brutality in Nigeria. A friend of mine, when all this NSAS protest and movement started, he told me, man, I feel like Nigerians are just trying to copy Americans' protest on police brutality. I mean, our Nigerian people now, they just like to copy. I said, nah, man, come on. That's rubbish. I mean, even if we are copying that, at least we are copying the good one. Copying the good thing. We are copying the art of freedom of speech. Which apparently is a crime in Nigeria. NSAS showed us that freedom of speech and for you to demand for your right is a crime punishable by a firing squad. That's pretty much what it showed us. I'm not making this up. It was on Instagram Live. Now, a lot of people say, oh yeah, some of those things were fake news. But guy, I saw it on Instagram Live. The other. So don't come here and argue with me. Now, for the history of this police brutality, I'm sorry, I'm going on tangents here. Do you know that the first official police brutality that happened in Nigeria was by the British colonial masters? Have you guys heard of the Aba Women Riot of 1929? Yeah, these were women in Igbo land. These were market women. They weren't even like educated women or anything. These were just market women that just went to the market and sold their goods to make ends meet. These women were getting taxed like crazy. And they just said, you know what? Enough is enough. We can't take this anymore. We're no longer paying these atrocious taxes to the colonial master. Of course, colonial masters at the time, being the bullies that they are, said, how dare you not pay our taxes? You want to die? And guess what they did? The colonial masters, of course, they brought their police, tried to intimidate the women. They ended up killing some of the women at the process. And that brought out a huge outrage. That was the first. The second one was the Ivor Valley massacre. Ivor Valley was pretty much a coal mining site in Enugu. Oh yeah, by the way, huge shout out to my Enugu folks. You know, people from Enugu. 042 at the Helu now. You know? So these guys they went on a strike. They pretty much told the British colonizers, they were like, you know what? If you guys are not paying us compensation, I think at the time, the government was owing them back pay. Right? And they kept demanding for their money. The government kept doing wayo. 419. We will pay you today, tomorrow. Days passed, weeks, months. And these workers said enough is enough. We're no more working. So at the time, I think it was illegal for them to do that. So what they did was they decided they're going to do a slowdown. So which means they'll just work at the slower pace. So let's say before they were working at 75% work rates. Now they slowed it down to like 45. The throughput of the coal mining dropped drastically. And the colonial masters were pissed. So guess what they did? They sent the police force to go fight their fight. They sent their dogs to go and attack these guys. So at the Ivor Valley in 1949, there was a standoff between the police and these coal miners. The police were on a mountain, facing down at the miners, guns drawn. They were literally in line, right? Like a firing squad, ready to obliterate these guys, like wipe them out. The miners just stood there, like, hey, do your worst. Whatever you got to do, do it. And of course, the colonial masters, being the bullies that they are, opened fire on unarmed workers. That day, 21 miners were killed. You understand? All these guys were fighting for was for their back pay. That's it. They just needed their money. It's like your employer owes you money. You go tell your employer, oh, guy, how far now? You don't owe me for 5 months. And your employer could just pick up his pistol and bah! How dare you ask for your money? That's exactly what these guys did. So when people always tell me, Nigerians really didn't fight for their independence, they really didn't revolt, blah blah. Nonsense, rubbish. The problem with a lot of Africans is you don't know your history. And that's the sad part, because most of your history was either stolen away when they stole your ancestors, when they stole all your ornaments, all your bronze, iron cast, all the stuff they stole from the continent. They stole all that stuff away to take away, to strip you away of your identity. I mean, if you guys really want to know the history behind all this, I highly suggest you go and watch Journey of a Colony on Netflix. Like, when I watched this, I was amazed at the things I didn't know about Nigeria. And I'm like, how much more have they hidden from the world? I mean, think about it. Like, the British people just came out and openly agreed that yeah, we are actually the ones that have been sponsoring SARS. What? So which means, I'm pretty sure even the president himself has no say. If president come out and says, you know what, let's end SARS now, I'm pretty sure himself, his hands might be tied. Oh, every time we always talk about going and vote. Your vote matters. Your vote counts. Blah 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 blah. No rigging of election. Let you be free and fair. Well, guess what? The first official election in Niger was rigged. By who? The so-called colonial masters. The so-called people who claim to practice democracy. Yeah. All these things are they're in history, man. Go check it out. I'm not gonna be here and give you a whole history lesson. I'm sorry, I can't do that. I'm not a historian. I love history. I love to read. I love to do research. But one way we can all do this, one way we can all fight this oppression and come together, first and foremost, is to know our identity. Do that research. Do that, learn that history. Once you learn all that, you'll be able to come together and say enough is enough, just like the youths in Lekki did. And for all those soldiers, that lost their lives on the Lekki toll gate, may their souls rest in peace. Their fight will not be in vain. We'll continue to keep fighting for them. And this is not just for Niger. This is for Cameroon, Congo, Ivory Coast, Ghana, all these Libya, Egypt, all these African countries that has continuously been oppressed. It's about time we stand up, because these elites, they are scared of unity. That's what scares them the most. Unity scares them the most, because once you're united, nobody can break you. You're only as strong as your weakest link. If you bring that weakest link together, you guys join together, you become an unbreakable chain. And that's what they're scared. Now, guess what these government people do? Guess what they started doing in Nigeria? First, they started by intimidating. They said, first they shut down the internet, right? Next thing they did, now they're trying to pass a law on social media so that they can regulate. They're trying to regulate social media so that they have autonomy over what you put on social media. Because the NSAS movement was more social media. It wasn't the media. It wasn't TV. It wasn't radio. Because that was the first time that they were caught red-handed live. So this one will be after the fact. After the effect, they'll come and do their own magic. The thing was on Instagram Live. People from America, I was seeing it on Instagram Live from my room on my phone as it was happening. I'm pretty sure even President Buhari in his office was watching it, and I'm pretty sure his eyes was bulging out, like he was pissed, like, are you kidding me? These guys are doing this. So now they're trying to pass a law to regulate social media in Niger. I heard Tanzania. I think it's Tanzania. They're doing their election. And they cut off all communications from the rest of the world. They shut off social media. They shut off the internet. They shut off media. Can you imagine? God damn. Like, when I think about this, I'm just like, wow. It's ridiculous. And the next thing they're trying to do now is they're trying to put everybody on a no-fly list. Everybody that was involved in the protest. So what they wanted to do, remember when the protest started, they were asking for a leader. They kept asking people, oh yeah, who's the leader of this NSAS movement? He should come to the office so we can talk to him. Not lie. They want you to come as a leader. The reason why they wanted leaders if you agree, say, okay, I am the leader of this NSAS movement. They will call you to the office. They will ask you, okay, what are your demands? We can give you 5 million. We can give you 10 million. You know, so you talk good for us. You don't talk against us. We can buy you a mansion. We can build you a business. That's why they wanted. That's what they wanted. Who? They wanted the leader. But of course, the youth said, we don't have a leader. If you want to talk to the leader, we are all leaders. Talk to us. They couldn't accept that. And the reason why they wanted a leader or a face of that NSAS movement was that they can get someone as a scapegoat. They can say, okay, it's this guy, it's Pals, it's Burna Boy, it's Davido, it's K-Switch, it's this, yeah, go and get him. But all these guys said, no, we're all in this together. For the first time, there was a national revolt. Nationwide. Nigerian government, they've never experienced that before. So they went back to their old ways. But of course, the military regime, they brought the military, firing squad. You know? They sent snipers, they sent soldiers with Dishka 240 machine guns. And this guy just opened fires at a sustained rate of fire on unarmed civilians. And then the next day, they denied that, oh no, we didn't send soldiers there, or those people were hoodlums dressed in civilian in military uniform. And then the next day they said, no, the military weren't there. And then they said, oh yeah, military were there, but we weren't shooting live bullets. We're shooting blanks. And then they said, oh no. Soldiers weren't there. That thing on Instagram was manipulated. Huh? How do you manipulate a live video? You know, it wasn't pre-recorded. It was recorded in real time. Like, you look at the Instagram live, you see the time matches. So how are you going to tell me that it was pre-recorded? So now they are running up and down, trying to get a scapegoat. The next thing they did, they started seizing passports. You know? And they put you on a no-fly list. You know what a no-fly list means? Pretty much, that means they are calling you a terrorist. Once you're put on a no-fly list. That's what they're trying to do now. So, for people in diaspora, this thing might affect you too. If you donated money to the NSAS movement, if you put a hashtag or whatever, maybe as you land into Niger for Christmas, they say, aha, that guy. Yes, he was one of the guys. They'll call you back, they'll seize your passport, and they'll say, yeah, you've committed act of terrorism against Nigeria, so therefore you're going to jail. That's what they're trying to do. And trust Nigeria now. Sharp, they go collect you, eradicate you. You don't disappear, be that. Your own don't buy, you're done. So it's about time we let the world know all these atrocities that's been going on. Do not keep quiet. I'm urging people, Nigerians in diaspora, this is our turn to fight. Because our Nigerians back home, they have fought their time. They fought the first battle. Now it's time for the second battle. Because this is war. It is what it is. Let's call it what it is. Alright? And in order to win a war, there are a lot of battles that need to be won. We won the first one. The Nigerian government is about to win the second one. They're fighting to win the second battle by shutting down the social media, putting people in jail, trying to get a scapegoat. We need to win the next battle. We need to come back with a counterattack and say, okay, this is what they're trying to do. We show the whole world what's happening. People need to get accountable. They need to be held accountable. Whoever ordered that massacre needs to be held accountable. Period. Even if it doesn't happen this year, it needs to happen in the next 5 years, next 10 years. However long it takes, we got to keep talking about this. Hey guys, I've been going on a tangent for too long. As you can tell, I'm really, really pissed. I'm really, really emotional about this. I don't have to. I don't need to. But that's how this hurts me because, yeah, I don't live in Nigeria anymore. But guess what? One day I might decide to go back and retire there, or even go back. Once I'm done with work here. It might be soon. It might be later. But at the end of the day, that's my home. So for people in diaspora, we need to join the fight. It's your name. It's your boy SMOG again. Thank you for tuning in. Oh yeah. Quick. Hey, if you're shopping on Amazon, please, I would like you to. If you shop on Amazon, I would like you to log into smile.amazon.com. It's pretty much a site on Amazon that helps charity. My family, we have we started a charity for our late grandmom, which is Eunice Akosa Foundation. So what Eunice Akosa Foundation does is we go back home and we try to help the less privileged with medical facilities. We help to we bring people, check their blood pressures, check, just do like medical checkups, and that's through Eunice Akosa Foundation. So Eunice Akosa Foundation is officially on Amazon.com. So if you go and buy whatever you want to buy on Amazon, just use smile.amazon.com. Some percentage of that donation is going to go towards the foundation. So yeah, please, I would really appreciate it. I mean, we gotta do what we gotta do to help Africa back, and what Eunice Akosa Foundation is doing, that's helping back by providing these annual medical checkups. Again, it's smile.amazon.com. Thank you very much, guys. Have a blessed day.